The basement of the Smithsonian's off-site storage facility in Maryland held secrets that would never see the light of day. At least that's what Director Margaret Chen had been told when she inherited the position 3 years ago. Some artifacts, her predecessor had warned with hollow eyes, are archived for a reason. Margaret had laughed it off. She was a scientist, a rationalist. But on this October evening, with most of the staff gone home, she stood before Vault 13, the American Horror Vault, with trembling hands. The vault's existence wasn't classified exactly. It just wasn't discussed. Inside were objects from America's darkest chapters, execution devices, personal effects from serial killers, cursed relics from indigenous burial grounds that should have been repatriated, but somehow weren't. The vault had been sealed since 1952, until today, when a hairline crack appeared in the concrete wall beside it, and something began to seep through. Margaret pressed her security card to the reader. Nothing. She tried again. The panel flickered, and text appeared. Warning, containment protocol breach. The door opened on its own. The smell hit her first. Old leather, rust, and something sweeter. Decomposition. But that was impossible. Nothing organic could have survived sealed for 70 years. She stepped inside, her flashlight cutting through the darkness. Metal shelves stretched into shadows, crowded with boxes, crates, and objects covered in moth-eaten cloth. A noose from a lynching in Alabama, 1931. Tag still attached. A straight razor owned by H. Holmes, used in his murder castle. A child's rocking horse from the Donner Party expedition, wood-stained dark. Margaret's radio crackled. Dr. Chen, are you down there? We're getting strange readings on the structural monitors. I'm in the vault, she replied, her voice barely a whisper. There's something wrong here. The temperature, it's warm. That's not possible. The vault has no climate control. It should be near freezing. She moved deeper, and her light fell on a glass case in the center of the room. Inside was a leather-bound book, standing upright on a small pedestal. The cover was blank except for a single handprint, too large to be human, pressed into the leather as if the material had been soft as clay. The case was open. Margaret's blood ran cold. Every artifact here was supposed to be sealed, protected. She leaned closer and saw pages filled with names, thousands of them, written in different hands, different inks, spanning centuries. The last entry was from 1952. The handwriting was shaky. We can't keep feeding it. God forgive us. We're sealing the vault. Below that, in fresh ink, impossible, fresh ink, a new line had appeared. Margaret Chen. Her radio crackled again, but this time it wasn't her security team. It was voices, dozens of them, overlapping, speaking in accents from different eras. Let us out. We're so hungry. You opened the door. Margaret backed away from the book, but her foot caught on something. She looked down and saw what appeared to be a drain in the center of the floor. The concrete around it was stained, old dark stains that spread out in a sunburst pattern. Feeding it, the words echoed in her mind. The lights flickered, and in that strobe-like effect, she saw them. Shadows on the walls that didn't match the objects casting them. Human-shaped, but wrong. Too tall, limbs bent at impossible angles, heads tilted in ways that suggested broken necks. They peeled away from the walls. Margaret ran for the door, but it slammed shut. She yanked at the handle, pounded on the steel, screamed into her radio. Nothing. The shadows moved closer, and she could smell them now. Grave dirt, formaldehyde, burnt hair. One touched her shoulder, and she felt cold radiate through her body. Memories flooded her mind, not hers. A woman in a 1950s dress, screaming, dragged into this very room. A security guard, throat cut, body pushed into that central drain. Offerings, sacrifices. They'd been feeding the collection. The objects in this vault hadn't just witnessed horrors, they had absorbed them, concentrated them, until they became something alive, something that needed to feed. Margaret's hand closed around something on a nearby shelf, a silver knife, evidence from some long-forgotten crime. She didn't know if it would help, but she swung it at the nearest shadow. The knife passed through it like smoke, but something changed. The shadow recoiled, and she saw its face. A young man, barely 20, wearing a Revolutionary War uniform. His eyes were black holes, and his mouth moved soundlessly. He was trying to warn her. She looked back at the book and understood. The names weren't victims. They were volunteers, guardians who had given themselves to keep the vault contained. "No," she whispered. "No, there has to be another way." But the crack in the wall was spreading. She could see into the corridor beyond, where more shadows.